6:30 so he can get back for practice. So please prioritize accordingly whenever he's ready. I'll let Coach lead off with the statement.
Yeah, we got this thing called practice today. We got a lot going on. Practice? We talking about practice? Oh, man. All right. What a great day. It's a fun day, man. This is always a blast. We all know that the lifeline of any football team or program, or any level, is its personnel, and so staff and players. And just super excited about what happened today. We got better. And it's, as I always say, it's always exciting to see a young man choose Clemson, because it's not like these, this isn't like the NFL where you just get to draft them and you go, oh yeah, you don't have a choice. You got to live here. And it's pretty cool when you have guys from all over the country choosing to come to Clemson, and it's just amazing, especially for me, because I've been here 17 years, and pretty cool to see how our brand has grown, and then also to see a bunch of this age group, these 17, 18-year-olds, have grown up, in this decade of Clemson football, and so it's pretty cool experience from my side of it as well. But just appreciate all these young men and their families for that belief and for their willingness to come. Some of them a long way to be a part of our program and buying into the vision of our program. So this is our 10th top 15 class in a row, and obviously we strive for consistency in everything that we do, and I think we've been able to achieve that. And that really was my number one goal getting the job, was to just try to create a consistent program. Consistent on the field, consistent academically, consistent in recruiting, consistent in our development, consistent in our staff, you name it. And I think we've been able to do that. And again, our 10th top 15 class in a row. And, I don't have any doubt that this group's going to be special. And I don't know how it'll all shake out, but maybe this might be our first ever number one class. We've never had a number one class. And I really don't, that's not a goal of mine. I don't lose any sleep over that. We sign guys. When we sign a guy, we think he's a 5-star. He might be rated a 2-star or a 1-star like Adam Humphries, or a 2-star like Grady Jarrett, or a 3-star like Travis Etienne by other people. But when we sign one, we believe he's a 5-star because he fits the criteria that we're looking for and brings certain things to the table that we think make us better and fit our program. So, but maybe we get our first ever number one class. I don't know. But I think if we do, it's just a credit to the young men, and it just shows that, first of all, how our brand has grown, but also just so happens that the best players in the country this year are great fits for Clemson, and we were great fits for them. So I think that that's really what that says more than anything. But last year we graduated the winningest class in college football history. They left here with 55 wins, and this group this year they got 54 wins right now, and hopefully 2 more games to go. They could leave here as the winningest class in the history of college football and stand alone in that regard. So when you're graduating people like that, you better have quality coming in the door, because they're leaving and they're taking all that with them. So I think that's a huge focus of ours, and it's critical that we continue to replace great people with more great people. And I think we've been able to do that with this group. I think 16 of these guys are going to be mid-years. I anticipate signing 23 today, and 16 of them being mid-years. Most of these guys have been committed for a long time, spring, summer. Some of them have been committed since the 10th grade. But we met all of our critical needs, and that's kind of how we go about recruiting. We're very specific. I try to hold everybody accountable. I give them kind of their direction, if you will, as far as, hey, you got, all right, Streeter, you get one spot. You bet one. You better make it count. And guess what? This is it. We're not going to go sign other guys. We're not jumping in and recruiting the portal. We're not doing any of that. So you better be right. And so we're very committed to the due diligence of trying to get the right people here. And I think we've been able, again, to do that for sure with this group. And we got a really talented team that's going to be coming back next year for sure. I mean, we're one of the youngest teams in the country. I think we've played the most freshmen in the country, and so we got a really talented group that'll be back next year. And so to be able to add 16 mid-years to that is going to be great. And the addition of this rest of this class, I think, just continues to allow us to have the type of competitive depth on our practice field and in the games that have helped us build a great program. So offensively, anticipate signing 12 guys, defensively 11, and and then also kind of a unique situation. Soccer signed a kicker today. Soccer signed a soccer player today. And Noonan, I just saw Noonan. I think they're still doing cartwheels, all across campus because they literally got. I mean, I described him as a Trevor Lawrence, a Deshaun Watson to soccer in Tanner Tessman, and it just so happens I'm probably the only guy on the planet that knows how talented he is as a kicker because I've known him his whole life, but he's been gone at this academy since the 8th grade. He had to stop playing football. And he's not just a kid. This guy could probably come and be a scholarship receiver, a scholarship safety. I mean, he is a big-time athlete, could play college basketball, easily go play D1 college basketball. I mean, he is a special athlete, just one of the best I've ever seen, to be honest with you. And soccer's getting something special, but that's also going to allow us to and Noonan did a great job recruiting him. So it's going to allow us to have another two-sport guy in our program, and man, is he gifted. I mean, just really unbelievable. I've never seen a guy kick a ball, 60-something yards right-footed and then turn around and kick it 50 yards left-footed. It's pretty amazing. So excited about that and what he'll bring to both sports. But our brand is strong, 12 states. I think now that I've been the head coach, that's 25 states that we've got young men from. So our brand is really strong, and we're even looking at guys outside of this country. So just thankful and appreciative. A lot of effort, a lot of hard work by a lot of people. Our staff does an amazing job, and man, Jordan Sorrells has done an incredible job of kind of the nuts and bolts of our recruiting, and just so many people alongside of him, Ty and Josh and Adam and Lindsey, and then Streeter's done a great job kind of being the on-field recruiting guy, and Todd Bates is going to move into that role and take that, and Streeter as he takes on passing game coordinator. So I'm excited about that, and again, just overall a fun day. And then I think we got 15 guys graduating tomorrow, and that's what it's all about. Just came from upstairs celebrating with them, and 16 if you count Daquan Bowers, and so just really pumped for all those guys. But with that, take some questions. We got to get back to work on this Fiesta Bowl. Any questions y'all got?
Todd Bates, your poetry guy.
Yeah.
Was he kind of that natural fit to go into that role, considering not only how well he's done on the recruiting trail, but just how he interacts with people?
Yeah, I just think he earned it. He's been with me now 3 years, I think, and just earned it. I mean, it was just opportunity to, promote him and recognize his tremendous efforts. He's done a great job coaching our defensive line. His first year, he had the whole D-line. And then the last couple of years, he's had the D tackles when we were able to get Ski on the field. So just has done an unbelievable job. He's relentless and passionate in the recruiting world, and he'll free Streeter up to really focus a little bit more on the passing game and just some of the day-to-day things that go on in recruiting. So just happy for him, and yeah, it was just a natural fit.
Coach, I heard both you and Tony Elliott compare DeMarcus Bowman to C.J. Spiller. I know you don't make that comparison lightly. Did you talk to DeMarcus much about making that comparison, and has C.J. talked to him at all?
I don't know if CJ's ever met him. I'm not sure about that, but I told him. I mean, the first time I watched his tape, that's what I told Tony. I said, that's Spiller. I mean, I didn't know if I'd ever see a guy like that again. That's what he looks like. I mean, he is unbelievably fast and explosive and gifted catching the ball and all those type of things. So, I mean, just a really, really good player, tough, well coached, comes from one of the best programs in the state. Coach Castle's a legend down there in Florida. First time we've got one out of Lakeland. I mean, that's a hard place to go in there and get a guy and to be the best running back in the country. I mean, this guy's great. And then to be able to get Kobe, and I mean, Kobe is a sledgehammer. I mean, he is a relentless runner. And so I just think that Tony knocked it out of the park with these two guys for sure.
Yeah, but what are people going to say out of DJ?
Uyunga Lele?
Yeah.
Six. Uyunga Lele. So we're going to all get together on that and practice this summer before. Well, no, y'all got to get busy. He's going to be here in January. Yeah. Just I put it in my phone like hooked on phonics. Like I put it in there like it sounds. Like if you were writing it in Alabama, I just wrote it. So it looks really. I hope he never sees my phone and how I wrote his name, but that's just how I could learn it. So I know how to say it. But he's right at 6'4", 240 something pounds. I mean, and looks lean. He is. He's everything that the great ones we've had, just bigger. I mean, he's not 6'6" like Trevor, but none of those guys are 240 pounds, and I mean he can run like as well as anybody we've had. Trevor, Deshaun, both those guys can run, and he's special with his arm and his legs like those guys. But just an unbelievable young person, just humility, knew exactly what he wanted. Just unbelievable family structure, very strong family. His mom Tasha and his dad Dave, and I mean just a special young man. I mean, all you need to know is listen. He's coming all the way from California. First time we've signed back-to-back players from California, by the way, ever in the history of the school, and so just speaks to our brand. But, he knows we got a guy named Trevor Lawrence that's going to be back next year. And we got a guy named Chase Bryce, and we got a guy named Pumachan. But he's like, look, I'm coming to Clemson. Just a very humble young man. Just no entitlement, no drama, been committed a long time, and really knew the first time. I asked him when he committed to me, when did he know? And he told me, he said, Coach, I knew the first time I came to Clemson that this is where I was supposed to be. And just very focused. He didn't even go to the Elite 11. He didn't go to the Elite 11 this summer. Now how many kids pass up on all that type of stuff? And he didn't go because he felt like, it was going to take him away from his team and what they wanted to accomplish because they had not beaten modern day in forever. And man, he came back and led his team to state championship and kind of the national championship of high schools in those last two games. But that's what he came back to. So that just speaks to his focus and he's a very selfless young man. Team. He's got a strong faith. I mean, he's a breath of fresh air. It's really the only thing I can say. But he's got a skill set that's just special and unique. Some similarities to some of these guys that we've had, but he's unique in his own way, and I'm excited to see him. And I bet you we have a sellout for the spring game. We don't sell anything, but I bet you we have a packed house for the spring game to see him out there. It's going to be fun to see these quarterbacks slinging it. So I'm excited about it, and great addition.
You see a lot of versatility out of Brian Bresee, and that he could play a three technique, first, second down, maybe move out to end on third if he needed to.
Yeah, Brian Bresee is I just give you the perspective, but he's Christian Wilkins, athleticism, dynamic, kind of freaky athletic for a big guy like that, and but he's stronger and more heavy-handed and maybe a little more violent at this stage coming out of high school than Christian was. And we all know who Christian was and how he impacted us as a freshman. But yeah, he's just a very versatile player. You just don't see many big people that can move. And he's lean. Like you look at him, you can't believe, that he's 300-pounder. I mean, he can flat out move. And another great family and another very humble young man. First guy in this morning was Brian Bresee.
Maybe a question for later, but the logistics of Testament with football season and
Oh yeah. That's a good one for later. But the good news is I got a lot of experience with it. because I've had baseball players, I've had track guys, I had Nuke who played basketball, have managed that, and there's a lot of coaches that talk about it. It sounds good in the recruiting process, but actually having a plan and really understanding how to manage it, that's a different deal. And I've got a lot of experience with it. And I've even had a soccer player, Buck Holtz was my first kicker. He made a few good kicks around here. I mean, Buck Holtz, he's getting ready to live the dream around here. He's going to be like a rock star. And that's kind of how Buck Holtz was. Buck Holtz was like, we're having to fly him like on a private plane to playing a soccer game on Friday night, and he shows back up with the team on Saturday, and he's kicking field goals for the Tigers. I mean, what a cool experience Buck Holtz had. But Tanner's special. He's special talent, and it'll be fun, And obviously we've got a lot of time. We got BT. He's going to be a junior next year, but Tanner will come in and compete right out of the gate. There's no doubt, because that's just his DNA. That's just how he's wired. But he'll gear things toward the easy thing too. It's not like he's playing soccer and then he's trying to play wide out. He's a kicker, and half the time our kickers are out there, playing soccer while we're practicing. Once they get, you only kick so many field goals, so they're over there kicking the ball around on some field and playing dodgeball or something. So it's really not that hard to manage when it comes to the situation. So Noonan and I will have a great time with it, and it'll be a cool experience. It'll be something I think our fans will really be excited about, soccer fans and football fans, and be a cool story as he goes through his career.
You alluded to it, but your ability to just open doors all over the country, what does that say about the sustained success that you said you have, and how you said kids have basically grown up watching Clemson now compete for national titles?
Yeah, and that's what I get that all the time. I mean, a lot of these kids that I'm meeting, they're, you think about, I've been the head coach 11 years, and last 9 years, I think we're the second winningest team in the country. And, we've had obviously a lot of success, and everything's on TV and all that, and there's no long distance anymore. It's like instant, information every day, all day in their world. And so, sometimes I'm a little I have to remind myself, because that's just not my world. And I have to remind myself when I meet one of these kids for the first time, and it's like, all right, well, so now why Clemson? And they know everything about Clemson. And well, since they were 6, they've been getting a lot of Clemson and following it. And they all know where it is. 11 years ago, very few people probably knew where Clemson was outside of kind of our main footprint. But now, literally, we have kids that reach out from all over the country, and a lot of them have a lot of offers, but we haven't offered them, and and so we'll say, well, take a look at your tape and come look at it, and it's just, I think it speaks to certainly our program, the culture, the consistency that we've had in our program, the continuity that we've had, but also it's a compliment to just Clemson. Because it's one thing to have a great football program and all that, but it's another thing to have a great place to live. A wonderful university to go to school at. It all has to go together. And people come here, and it's special. Our location, what we're surrounded with the mountains and the lakes, and 2 hours from Atlanta and 2 hours from Charlotte, and Greenville is one of the best cities in the country. It's just, we've got a lot of great natural resources that I think are just built in for us, and then that goes along with our program and the consistency that we've had. And then I think, when you see, we've been 8 out of my 10 years top 10 academically. 8 out of the last 9 years we've been top 10, us, Duke, and Northwestern. And we won the AFC Academic Achievement Award this year, second year in a row. We've had a Campbell Trophy. And so there's a high value of education woven into the DNA of our program, and that resonates, with the people who are looking for what we offer. And so it's really cool to be able to have a brand that really we can go all over we can go out of the country and people recognize that Tiger Paw. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but did you know one quick update from recruiting compliance? We have another player that we can announce if you'd like from Canada.
Well, there you go. We've gone international. So I've been waiting on that. yeah, we've got our first international signee. We're going to sign Joe. When I first met him, I said, "I'm Dabo. Nice to meet you, Joe." And we hit it off right there. He was destined to be a Tiger. So yeah, Dabo and Joe. This guy is. I'm so excited. It's the first time I've been able to talk about him. I'm so excited about this guy. He's from Canada, and again, now we've kind of gotten an international flavor, if you will. But when I got him in camp this summer, and he's been in Canada his whole life, and he went down to play in Clearwater, Florida there, and just absolutely amazing talent. Brooks, Alberta is the actual, I don't know if you call it province that he's from, but he went down there to Clearwater Academy, and Coach Chinchar and his staff did a great job, but they kind of got him there. And this guy, I kid you not, had never been in a stance. He's played football his whole life. I mean, I watched his tape, and this guy's playing in snow, and I mean, he's tough as they come. This is how he grew up, playing in the snow, playing Canadian football his whole life. 3 downs. That's how he's played football. That's what he knows. And then he comes to Florida, and he has to go do spring practice in May. Well, then he comes in to us in June to camp. And Jeff and Tony went down there to see him, and they were like, "Coach, you wait." And I said, all right, I need to see him in camp. So he comes to camp, and literally he did not really know how to come out of a stance because he's always had a running start. His whole life he's had running starts. So it's just when I talk about a guy that we're going to have a chance to really just kind of mold as a wideout guy, I'm so excited about him. His leaping ability is off the charts. In fact, I think he's got some kind of Canadian record for long jump or high jump in Canada. Just kind of a freaky skilled guy. Super excited about him, and man, between he and EJ, we got two real stallions right there that going to keep us as a pretty good wideout group for a while. So really excited about him.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about basketball related, how much you knew of Ryan Day before this experience here.
I didn't know anything about him, to be honest with you, other than last year. I knew who he was last year when he was the interim coach at the beginning, and so that really was kind of the first time I knew about him. We've just been in different worlds, and I just didn't know who he was until that. But obviously, he's done an unbelievable job. I mean, amazing. Not easy to step into that situation last year, and then to have to replace Urban Meyer, to be the guy to follow such a great coach like Urban, and I mean that's not easy. And then all of a sudden you go undefeated in your first season, and that's just a lot to navigate, as a head coach, and lots of expectations and those type of things. But he's done an unbelievable job. They're a great team, complete team, really no weaknesses.
Did you get a chance to talk with him at all in Atlanta?
I did. He didn't make it to the press conference, so we had an empty seat there next to us. But I got a chance to spend a little time with him after that, and he super nice guy, and like him, just talking to him and interacting. He's got a good perspective, and we talked a little bit about our prep and stuff, but he's I think obviously a great coach.
I went back and revisited a story I wrote a couple of years ago when Jay Guillermo came in, and in June camp you had 1 or 2 commitments for that year.
Oh, yeah.
Heading into June camp. Now everybody's committing so early. Number one, does that mean you have to hit on these guys even earlier in the process? And how much does that play into your policy of, I'm not going to offer them until they are a junior,
Yep.
even though guys like DJ's little brother is getting offers from LSU as a freshman and other schools?
Yeah, well, our policy's not changed. It just means that we've got to, do a very, very good job and don't be pressured by all that stuff. I'm always saying, let's pump the brakes. If we take a guy early, it's because we know. It's just Cape Hart. He was my first commit in this class, but I knew him. He'd been in. I think it was like maybe spring of his sophomore year, I believe, going into his junior year, but he'd been in camp, You know, I knew him. Deshaun Watson, his sophomore year, I knew him. You know, but that's just I need to. That's how we protect our program. Is just making sure that we know enough about these guys. But you know, I just think when you rush those things, you know, and you don't know, they don't know enough about us. It's not just us. They need to know who we are, and they need to know what they're getting into. And I just think that's how many decommitments have you seen from Clemson over the last, I don't even know, 5, 6, 7 years? How many? Not many. Not many. But I think it's because we just tell them the truth, and we're very honest and transparent. This is who we are. This is the expectation. And I try to talk them out of committing. But, you know, we just have a policy that we believe in. And, you know, our program has grown to that point to where, you know, we can be patient. And I think it's resonated with the recruits. They know who we are, and they know that we don't offer a lot of people. And there's a lot of kids out there, they're not going to come to Clemson, but they really want that Clemson offer. And so, you know, that's just kind of where we are. But nothing changes. You know, a lot of these guys are making decisions as juniors, but I just, for me, you know, I love to see, you know, the transcript after 2 full years. I like to know a little bit about, you know, just their social media, you know, do our research and meet with people. And I mean, because to me, it's a lifelong decision. You know, that's how I look at it. I don't look at it as I'm focused on our program. And so I'm like, hey, here's what you got. You got one spot. You got one spot, Mike Reed, one. And so better be right, because that's it. You know, and then all of a sudden, if something changes, and now all of a sudden we had another spot, well, then I'll let him know. You know, and Malcolm Green, I mean, we're very fortunate to be able to get another corner like Malcolm Green, because, you know, he wanted to commit early, and we filled up. We didn't have a spot. We were only taking one. And, you know, so he was going to LSU, obviously a great school, and but his dream was to come to Clemson. And he's one of the best players in the country. And, you know, he was patient. Trenton Simpson. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I didn't have a spot for him, and he was patient, and it worked out. And I think that speaks to who we are as a program and the transparency that we have in the process. And so, you know, nothing's really changed from that standpoint.
A couple players that committed earlier in the process, Walker Parks, Trey Williams. Your thoughts on those guys? Yeah,
love Trey. He's going to have a Christian Wilkins type personality. He's a very outgoing guy. He's athletic, big athletic guy. He's coming off an injury right now, but should be ready to go by the time we get going in the summer. Super excited about him up there playing up in D.C. from Connecticut, like Christian. But great young man, one of our early commits. And then Walker Parks, it's nasty. He is special. When I offered him, he cried. You know, that's one of the greatest moments. You know, to see this kid come in here and grind in our camp a couple years in a row, and to be able to offer him a scholarship that he just flat out earned, and to just see his passion for wanting to be at Clemson, his passion for trying to earn that scholarship, it's pretty special. And he's going to be a great player, man. Great leader, too.
Take our last question here.
If Paul Teo will play guard or tackle to start off with?
No, I mean, those guys, that's the one thing I would say is we've and Robbie's done an awesome job, is we've recruited diversity in our offensive line, meaning guys that can play tackle, guys that can play guard. And you can just look at the guys that we have right now and how we cross-train guys. I mean, you know, right now, Tremaine Ankrum could go start at guard for us because he practices at guard. He works. He snaps every day. You know, we have a lot of versatility within that offensive line as far as being able to move guys around, and we don't ever know till you get those guys in here and you start coaching them. And you know, we don't really label any of them. We just call them all offensive linemen. And you know, from time to time you'll get a guy that you'll just say, hey, you know, like Mason Trotter, he's not going to play tackle for us. He's definitely a center guard. But, you know, a guy like Teo, you know, some of these, Brian Tucker, Mitchell, Walker, we got all these guys, Trent, Trent brings a lot of versatility. I mean, they're gonna. We'll get the best 5 in the right spot, and you know, so not labeling anybody at this point.
Counts even now, huh?
What's that? Yeah, man. T-Bone's gonna be awesome. I think he's as good a football player as there was in this state. He plays safety like his dad coaches defense. It's gonna be a lot of fun with him. All right, see y'all later.
Does Tanner count against football scholarship?
No, he's signed with soccer, but when it's time to play, he'll have to be on football scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that'll all work itself out down the road. All right.